my Carolina home. Had dreams about the West and started to roam. 6 long months on a dust-covered trail. They say heaven's at the end, but so far it's been hell. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. We were digging and shifting 5 to 5, selling everything we found just to stay alive. Gold flowed free like the whiskey in the bars. Sinning was the big thing, Lord, and Satan was a star. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. And blood lined the streets. Men were shot down for the sake of having fun, or just to hear the noise of their 44 guns. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. Now my widow, she weeps by my grave. Tears flow free for her man couldn't save. Shot down in cold blood by a gun that carried fame, all for the useless and no good, worthless claim. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there.
4, 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, super chat. No man, can't believe I had that done. Hey YouTubers and friends, how are all you doing tonight? Welcome to another Tuesday night Hangout Live. Well, tonight's a special night. I have the return visit of a friend of mine, New England gold dredger, gold prospector, small scale miner, TV celebrity, cameraman, fellow YouTuber, Bryan Wilder of American Gold Prospectors, and we'll get into some more later on. But tonight I have two friends of mine joining me as special guests, co-host, Mr. Lodak, the world's greatest moderator, and Y Gold Prospecting and Metal Detecting, I believe it is, but Y Gold. So it should be a really good show, so don't go away, we'll be right back.
Everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night, Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night, Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night, Hangout Live. With your host, Ed Marvin. Tuesday Night Hangout Live is a Flash in Your Pan production.
Alright, well, give me a second. I need to fix their their Zoom, because I want to use my Zoom avatar for the monologue tonight. Ha ha ha. But I have to fix a couple things in here before I can actually bring them on. I gotta move around my Zoom so they get in it. I need to remove my picture here, stop my video, close down my camera. Then I have to readjust my I don't know if I'll ever do this again because it's quite a pain in the keister. But I think we're ready now. How you doing, Mr. Lodak and Y Gold?
Good. Hello, everyone.
It's Good.
guys. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm having a hard time hearing though.
What's going on?
Your mic seems kind of low, Rob. And
That was funny. How about now?
better.
I'm sorry, guys.
No worries. Brian Wilder, sorry everybody, I forgot to say hi to everybody in chat. Indiana Gold, oh that's Randy, Scotty, Tony, Indiana Gold Getter Scotty, Scott Peterson, welcome, Lester Laporte, Thomas Pennyweight Folks, Guido, Brad Welsh, how you doing? Moto Mining, good to see you. Joe, how you doing? MVP. Mr. Lodax in chat. Eric Carter. And I saw Rock Butcher in here. And Bill, Papa Roos, how you doing? Gold Hunter 77, good to see you back. Along with Lawrence L. Long time no see, Lawrence. Hope to see you around a little more often. I saw JP Lonzamore in here. And Adam, are you here? My brother from New England, Prospectors Theory. Are you still here, buddy? JP Lonzamore. And I think that's about it for now. Welcome all 24 of you as of right now. Thank you everybody who listens to the replay over at Spotify and iHeartRadio. Greatly appreciate it. Tonight we have, sorry guys, I'm gonna pin up Bryan since he's the guest. And
You sure you want to see my ugly face?
your fugly face?
No, I shaved today, so I'm looking good.
Well, you're a manly man working in the bush of Maine at the moment. So how's your project doing over there?
Good. Right now, I'm in the middle of the woods, so I got a bad background. I'm in a pop-up camper, and hopefully my internet will be good because I got 2 bars on my phone, but hopefully it'll be good. But yeah, I'm in the middle of the woods. I've been here a couple of weeks now. I bought some property, and I've bought a backhoe, so I'm playing with that thing, trying to make roads, and I'm digging ditches, trying to get the water out of the roads, and knocking trees over, and just kind of having fun in the off season right here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you even have a off season anymore?
Not really. No, hopefully they'll start filming again this winter. The rumor is that it's looking good. It's not a positive yes or no, but they start filming. I'll go back to Nome in February, so I'll get December, January. I'll get 2 months. Well, November, so I'll get November, January. I'll get 3 months off. Kind of mess around, do
Cool.
whatever, have some fun. And then if I go back to Nome for winter, I'll be there till I think it was April 15th or maybe the week after. And then go back home for maybe another month, and then I think June 15th to go back up to Nome. Now, if they're not filming, I'll probably work with Vernon again for the summer, but I'm just going to do a half season. I kind of did a half season this year, so I'll do a half season next summer. But if they are filming, I'll probably go work for the film crew, you know.
Well, you really enjoyed that from what I understand.
Yeah, no, the film crew was fun working for it because when I'm working for them, you know, I got an apartment, a place to stay, I got a car, you know.
Don't you have a place to stay when you're living with or working for Vernon, though?
Yeah, I stay on the boat, but there's no running water, there's no sink, there's no toilet, there's no electricity. It's pretty rough, you know. And living on the boat, it's tough too, because I mean, when we go out, we'll go out for 3, 4, 5 days, you know, do diving and dredging and get the gold, and then the boat's just trashed when you get back to port. There's water just everywhere, everything's soaked and wet. And then you get back to port. I was working on the boat this whole time, and then you get back to port, and I'm still on the boat, you know. So it's you kind of get sort of fever cabin. You get boat cabin or boat fever or something, whatever you want to call it. But it's
Boat
you know,
fever, huh?
Yeah, it's tough staying on the boat.
I
yeah,
could
at the dock,
imagine
there's no
boat
water,
fever's worse than cabin fever.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's just tough being on the boat all the time. So it's nice to have an apartment up there, you know. And plus, when you're in an apartment, you know, you got electricity and a TV and cable. You can sit down on a couch and like, or maybe sleep in a real bed, you know.
Right.
But staying working for the film crew, you know, I get my own like little apartment. We stay at Sean Pomeranke's place. He's got a place called Man Camp, and there's like I think there's 18 apartments in there or something like that.
Well,
And then
when
community
we
kitchen, and then a community living room. So you know, everyone's hanging out and have a good time, and you know, partying. And then you can just when you're done, you just walk from the kitchen living room area to your room and go to bed. You know, and plus they
Right.
got showers there. They got you know on the boat. There's no running water. There's no shower. There's no hot water or cold water. If you want to like wash your face, you got to take a bucket out of the ocean and splash your face with it. You know.
you what? Vern don't have you have heaters for your wetsuits, right?
Yeah, it's salt water. You know, ocean salt water.
Yeah, I'm sure you could
Yeah.
hook up something. You're
No, we do.
you're,
I
you're a
use- I
regular
use,
MacGyver, Brian. So
No, I do actually. I use the heater for the diver, the one that we put down our suits. I use that to like wash dishes and stuff. But we just crank that on, wash dishes, or when we do our cleanouts too. I do use the hot water, so at least we got hot water that we're playing with, and the gold cube and all that stuff. You know.
what's that, Rob?
Oh, sorry about that. I was going to say, don't you guys have like the salt water to freshwater conversion pumps on your little...
No, it's just salt water. So when we're diving, the water coming from water comes from the ocean, and then it goes actually to the diesel pump motor, and it gets semi-warm there. It gets about like 80 degrees off a heat exchanger on the diesel motor, and from there it goes to something called a Toyotomi. It's a diesel-powered water heater, but the water that we're feeding it's already like 80 degrees, so it only bumps it up to like I think around 100 degrees is what we pump down to the diver. You know, every diver likes it hotter or colder, but right around 100, 110 or so. Because by the time it goes down 40 feet in the ocean, it's like 90 degrees hitting the diver. So we kind of have two hot water systems, and we can run each independently. So if the pump motor's off, we can run like an electric pump motor, like something you get in your RV, like a 12-volt water pump. So that will run up the battery and then go into the Toyotomi and still get water down to the divers, because sometimes you got to turn the pump motor off to like go check a mat, you know, to see if we're on gold or whatever. We'll do a test mat quick. So we have two ways we can get water, like when the pump motor's on or off.
Right on. Scott Peterson wants to know, did you see Alex this season?
I did, just real fast. He came later in the season, like just a couple days before I left. He showed up. I did not get a chance to talk to him. I wish I did. I saw him on the beach quick, but I was off doing something. We're getting ready to go out in the ocean and go dive. So I knew he was there, but I didn't get a chance to talk to him.
Right on. Hi, Deej, Terry Marshall. I believe there was someone else that I might have missed. David Villa. Maybe.
I saw something about the water, but the salt water gets sore or wounds. Actually, what could happen with the salt water? What does happen? So the water that goes in our wetsuits, it comes in from the foot valve that runs the whole dredge. You know, so the water comes up and into the pump. Most of the water goes to the dredge, to the pressure lines to make the dredge go. But there's a little valve that feeds from the pump that goes into the heat exchanger and back to the diver. But anyways, so what happens is sometimes jellyfish, they get sucked up and then they get torn up in the motor and they're all ground up or whatever. And some of them will go down and into your suit, so you just be like dredging there, and all of a sudden you just start tingling all over, and you're like, someone sucked up a jellyfish. So that happens sometimes when we're out dredging. Usually it's not too bad, but you'll feel it. You'll feel all tingly and rashy, and depends how allergic you are to the jellyfish, but that happens quite a bit.
Did you end up sending me, emailing me, or messaging me some of your gold porn? Because they're already asking for it in the chat room. And,
yeah, I know.
And you're up in Maine working on your land, so you have no gold with you.
No, I'm not home. I'm far from home. I totally forgot. I came up here like a week and a half ago. Just totally forgot I was gonna be doing it. So I don't have any gold with me, but I do have jars that I got a pretty good amount. I think I came home with 17 ounces this season, so that was my share.
And you did Vern's boat had the best clean out ever as U.S. captain, right?
Yeah, so what happened this season was I wasn't expecting to go to Nome because they weren't filming. So I was supposed to come in like June 20th or something like that, and I was going to work for the film crew again. But they said, they're not going to film this summer. So I'm like, that's a bummer. But I was kind of excited because I spent the last, 3 summers. Before last summer, I spent 3 summers in Nome. So I had no summer. I left here in Massachusetts when it was freezing cold, go to Nome, and it's still pretty cold all summer long. And then I come back in November and it's cold again. So, I mean, I had winter time the last 3 years. And so anyways, this summer I was like, all right, I'm going to finally have a summer. So I was kind of happy not to go. I miss summer. I miss seeing trees and leaves and, dirt bike riding and all that stuff and fishing. So Vern kept calling me. He's like, hey, they're not filming this year. And he's like, I want to take, some time off. He's like, I need someone to captain the boat. So would you mind doing it? I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I kind of wanted to have a summer, I was looking forward to that. And then, so I kind of turned it down, and then he called me a few more times and like, fine, whatever. So I came down, and my job this summer was just to captain the boat and tender for everyone. And Vernon got a new nitrox system, which is it takes the nitrogen. It feeds the diver more oxygen is what it does. So we're breathing 32% oxygen, and you got to make sure the system's all right. And it's really dangerous. So Vernon had a professional guy come in and gave me classes on how to use it, make sure no one dies and stuff. So I had to learn all that and do all that. So I was busy. I captained the whole boat. So I drove the boat, captained it, docked it, anchored it. I had all the spots that we had to go to on my GPS. So I put everyone on the gold spots that I knew from before or whatever. And so that's pretty much what I did this summer. And then, Vernon wanted to take some time off. But while we were going out, we just, because of that new nitrox machine, we're able to go 40, I think we're in right around 40, 42 feet of water. Right. And normally we could only go 32 feet. So we're in 10 feet deeper. So we were hitting some really good gold. And this was the best season. I left late September. So I was there only maybe 2.5 months. And damn, we got, I think it was 140, 150 ounces or something like that in just 2 months. And
hope you made Vern happy.
Yeah, Vern was happy. He would come back and forth. So he was there for a couple of weeks or a week or so, make sure I could handle the boat. And then he took off and then came back for a clean out and stuff, and then took off again for a few weeks and came back and then took off. So he was in and out, but it was really cool. We had just a really great season, but too bad they weren't there filming this year. It would have been a really cool season. The gold cube, we were lighting up the gold cube 2 or 3 trays. That was really cool.
Oh, I bet. Now Bacchus wants to know, are the lobsters in AK better than here in New England? Go ahead, say your opinion and I'll say mine. I think Pacific spiny lobsters are better than Maine lobsters, but who's to say? But he
Does
was,
he mean does he mean king crab versus lobster?
oh,
I,
well,
I don't think they have lobsters in Nome. They just got crab, like king crabs.
crab up the yin yang, spider crab and king crab and all kinds of crab, right?
Yeah, Nome. There's a ton of. When we're diving, we grab them actually on the bottom of the ocean and bring them up and eat them. I mean, they're right there while we're diving for gold. I've
Like
never
I
seen a
was saying
lobster.
in that Zoom meeting the other day, why don't you throw out some pots on your way out,
Yeah, no, that was a plan.
pick them up on the way in?
No, that was a plan. We are gonna get some lobster traps for ice season, and because I got to drill these holes anyway. So when I drill the holes for the camera diver, we're gonna go out and get a whole bunch of lobster or crab pots and throw them in. We just needed you need to have like a native like actually do it, I guess, because it's called subsistence fishing or something like that. To do it legally, we needed like a native person to sign for it or be with us, or I forget how it worked, but that was kind of the hang up because I'm not sure just like regular people can do it. I think you have to be a native to, unless you do it commercially. If you just have like 4 or 5 pots out, I think you gotta something to do with the native and subsistence fishing or something. You need a special permit, but.
So are they filming this winter then, or no?
No, well, it's still up in the air. It's definitely not a no, and it's not a yes because so they still have their production headquarters in Nome. It's still there. They're still renting it, so they didn't give it up yet, which means they still don't know, and so it's definitely not canceled or it's just on hold. I don't know when we're gonna find out. Probably only like 3 weeks before we're supposed to go. We'll actually find out if they're gonna film it up.
Now, what do you like better, being ocean dredging or land, like up in New England area?
It's tough. I mean, as far as actually making gold, Nome is a place where you can go and make a living doing it. I mean, the cost of living is very high too, so you'll make a ton of gold, but you're going to spend a lot of that money just being there in Nome. River dredging is really hard to make a living, like a real honest living doing it. Like, I mean, some places maybe like chicken, you can go and make a good living, but then again, in chicken, it's expensive to live there too. But just in and around the states, usually, I mean, I don't know very many places you can go and make a living mining for gold. But
So river dredging is more for like just recreation.
yeah, that's more fun. I mean, usually when you're river dredging, you're camping, you're with your friends, you have campfires and you're hanging out and cooking steaks and stuff. It's not really work. It's more like you're there to have fun and camp and, hang out with your buddies. But when you're up in Nome and stuff like that, that's work. You got a boss, people yelling at you. You got to be on time. You got to, do your job. You got to, can't show up to work drunk, stuff like that. So that's more, professional, more, it's more work, which kind of sucks. I really like gold mining, but when you do that, when you do it for work, it kind of turns it around. Like it's not the same. I mean, it's still gold mining. I still like it, but it's like when you're river dredging here in the States, you just do it when you want to go do it. You're there to have fun and enjoy yourself, and no one's pushing you. You can wake up at noon and have a late start and just can't do that. No,
Becomes too much of a job up there.
We were dredging till like 3 a.m, just because of the weather window or something like that. So I mean, geez, sometimes we'd start at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I tended for everyone. So I would wake up super early, get the boat all ready, take the boat out, anchor it, start tending, and I tended for everyone. So I would start sometimes at like 6 in the morning getting the boat out there, and I wouldn't finish till like 3 o'clock in the morning by the time like a bad weather came or something happens. I mean, it was exhausting. There was a couple 3-4 day runs where I was just 3-4 hours a day that I would rest. But at the end of that, geez, we would do like 18, 19 hours and come back with 20, 21 ounces of gold, So a couple of times it was over an ounce an hour. So it's
So
worth
Rock
it.
Butcher has a question for you. He said, how many people are on the boat when you're operating, including the diver?
Yeah. So when I was there, so when Vernon was gone and I was captain, it was just me, and we had we had Gary who was diving with us, and then we had 3 divers. So we would try to get in. Each diver tried to do 3 hours because you're limited on nitrox. Nitrox, when you're diving 40 feet, you can't. There's a time limit. I think 3 hours and 30 minutes was the time limit, and then that diver could not go back down for another 3 hours and 30 minutes. He had to gas off for that amount of time. So we had 3 divers to make everything go smooth and rolling. So, and I had to tend for all those 3 divers the whole time we were out. So, you know, it was just a lot of hours.
Now, wasn't you guys using that, I forget the name of it, the air treatment stuff that you guys, the
Yeah, nitrox. That's
nitrox?
nitrox. Yeah. So that just takes like air, and then it's kind of like a reverse osmosis system, but with air in it. Something to do with like the molecules are smaller and the oxygen than the nitrogen or whatever. But we make our own oxygen on the boat. So that
it's almost
machine
like
makes more oxygen, and then I had to turn valves and watch the meters and make sure, because like a regular oxygen that we're breathing now is 29% or 28. I think it's 28%. Sorry, and we had to give the diver 32% oxygen, and so we would make our own oxygen on the boat, and I would have to adjust it to make sure he got the 32%.
Vern sure likes that. If we watch that on the show, he's just sitting there just taking hits of it.
Yeah, but it was cool. No, Vern hired someone all the way from somewhere, Dive, Alaska. So we had a guy that specializes in the systems. He came and gave us a private lesson, which was kind of cool, to make sure no one died. Because there was all types of problems and stuff that can go wrong. And, he gave us all tips on, how to clear your ears better and what kind of medicine to take, or, kept on saying, make sure you have Pedialyte and all this stuff. I don't know. He gave us a bunch of tips and everything. I wrote everything down, but it was pretty cool that he did that.
MVP Most Vicious Prospector wants to know how much to stay at Sean's man camp.
The camera crew rents out the whole man camp, so only the camera crew's allowed to use it. And then when we're not there, all Sean's guys use man camp. He doesn't rent it. But if you're in Nome, they're doing a special Halloween trick or treat thing for the community. If you want, if you want to go check out man camp, now's a chance. I think they're doing like a charity event there. If you go to Nome Post on Facebook, it's on there.
Do you have any type of certification to be able to do the ice mining or ocean mining?
No, I don't know if you're actually supposed to or not. Up in Nome, it's like a whole different world. Like no one's certified for anything. You're probably supposed to. I don't know. I did get certified as a diver when I was 15 when I got certified, because I remember the adult class you had to be 16 to get the adult card. So I was only 15, and the guy's like, "Oh, let me hold your card for like 3 months. When you turn 16, I'll give you your card, and you'll have the adult one, which is good for you the rest of your life." So I did that. So I was only 15 when I got my certification. But I
Gold
am an
Hunter.
open water certified diver. But that's not a requirement up there. Like when Vern has divers, no, no one actually up there at Nome ever asks if you're certified. It's right. I don't think there's any regulations you're supposed to or not. Um, I don't think you're supposed to have a captain's license unless you're like have the boat for hire. So I don't think I need a captain's license on the boat. I don't know. Maybe I was supposed to. I'm not a big rule follower, I guess.
Well, the Coast Guard's not actively out there unless somebody's in trouble, right?
Yeah, and even so, there's no if your boat goes down, there's no Coast Guard out there. The closest Coast Guard base is like 500 miles away or something like that. You're on your own. If your boat's going down, you're screwed. Like a couple years ago, No, no. When we went out to go help that guy on the dredge because there was no one else going to go out there. When that dredge was sinking on that show last summer season, that boat was sinking and he was calling for help, and the only people that go to help are people that are in Nome. We went out and tried to help and save him, and he didn't want to abandon his ship, and we couldn't tow it back. There was no way. So we tried to get him to abandon ship. He wouldn't abandon, and we're like, well, we're gonna die out here. We're not just gonna sit next to you. I mean, if you want, we can give you our dinghy, hop in the dinghy, and we'll bring you back. And they're like, no, no, just go, just go. So they wouldn't abandon the ship, so we left. And I took all the GPS coordinates, and that's when Vern was yelling at me about my GPS. But anyways, I relayed that back to the harbor master. I'm like, this is the last spot they're seeing. They're refusing to leave the boat. Like, here's their GPS coordinates. And then we went back, and then Sean went out on the boat that I was using for the film crew. We rented off Sean. I was captain of that boat last year. But that boat that was on TV, that's Sean went out and went out. And by that time, this ocean was getting really even worse. So they were like, okay, yeah, we'll hop on. And they got on with Sean. And thank God, because a couple hours later, that dredge just sank to the bottom. They would have died. But there's no Coast Guard out there to rescue. Not even a helicopter. Nothing. You're on your own. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to rely on the other guys. Yeah, I think we're only like 100 miles, a couple hundred miles away from Russia. But
Hold on
yeah,
real quick, Ed. I believe you're muted. Seems like there's dead air.
Muted, all right.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see F-22 fighters all the time. They fly by because they're always trying to intercept those Russian people that fly by or whatever.
Right.
There was one day that the F-22s, they circled Nome like super low. They were like giving us a show. It was so loud. It was so cool. There was two of them. They circled Nome like 4 times and then just booked out of there. It was really cool.
So
I
Gold Hunter 77 wanted to know, do the storms wash up gold so you can work gold grounds? I'm not sure if he was talking about inland or outland or both. Or...
on the beach probably,
Yeah, I'll
and
say it. Both,
along the coast.
So sometimes I've been there when there's like minor storms, pretty good sized storms, not like super storms but that's what everyone does. As soon as there's a good storm, everyone heads to the beach and then they start searching, and it's hit or miss. It either puts a ton of gold on the beach or it strips the beach and takes all the gold off, and it's like hit or miss. So a couple of times I went down right after a big storm, and I saw pickers on the beach, not big pickers, but little flakes. You could see them right all over the beach, everywhere. And I was just picking them off, not even panning, just picking the little pickers off the beach. That was really cool. And then you shovel it and take it back and run the sand. And sometimes it's really good, and then sometimes you go where it was really hot and you think there's going to be more, and then the storm actually takes the gold off. So that really big storm that's coming up, they didn't show it yet on the new episode on Bering Sea Gold, but like in the next episode or next couple episodes, they have that superstorm that's coming, and that's the one that on that YouTube video that I made where the guy lost his house. That's coming up on the show. That's the same storm. But in that storm, everyone was out trying to find gold, and that actually took all the gold and just washed it up. Like the beach was actually clay. There was barely any sand left on the beach. So that storm came out and actually took all the sand off and brought it back into the ocean and like left nothing. There wasn't like anything on the beach. So, and then there's been a couple of storms since then and put it back on the beach. So it's like it takes it off and puts it on, takes it off. It's kind of weird. There's no like rhyme or reason to it. As far as in the ocean, we're at 40 feet deep, so nothing changes there. I mean, maybe some sand might, like the current will blow sand in or something, but it really doesn't change too much out in the ocean. As far as like rocks flipping over and everything like that, that doesn't really happen, but it will move sand. Like you'll get currents. Like where once was like all gravel, there might be like a foot or two of sand over your gravel, but it won't like flip rocks over or anything like that. So I don't think it really moves too too much gold that's in the ocean. I mean, over time it will, for sure, but, you know, just a storm or two, no.
We have
So Terry Marshall said, "Have you found anything interesting while diving other than, you know, like a old
No, I
anchor
found,
or something?"
I found a horn, like to a muskox or something. We found a horse hoof once. I stumbled on like some kind of wreckage. It looked like a gold dredge, like some kind of like homemade gold dredge kind of thing. It was tough to say because I was getting dragged and I got dragged right past it, and I thought I was going to get tangled up in this because the anchor slipped. So I'm down there just holding on to the hose and going for a ride, and I passed some kind of wreckage or something. I don't know what it was. Other than that, no, not really. I can't think of anything offhand. Someone on the beach found a gold coin, which is pretty cool, $20 gold piece.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because actually one time, so the town of Nome burned down to the ground. I forget, maybe in the 20s or something like that. And they actually just take bulldozers. They took bulldozers and just wiped the whole town into the ocean, just pushed the whole friggin' thing in there. So people are finding all types of cool stuff on the beach. You know, the bars are all full of money, and back then everything was gold or silver that they used, you know. And so people, you know, they'll still find gold coins in the you know, near the beach, not out in the ocean, but there's all types of little trinkets and trash that you find on the beach right near Nome. That's just all the stuff washing back up from that, you know, big fire that they had.
Right
And then Rob
on.
Random says, "What depth of air do you start to feel the narcosis?"
Everyone's different. I would feel it sometimes, and I was only at like 30 feet. So you're not supposed to dive over 32 feet, which is 1 atmosphere. Anything below 32 feet, you can stay down as for as long as you want. So before we had the night trucks, that's what we did. When I was diving like 28, 30 feet. But I was down for like 4 or 5 hours, and you know, I would come up slow, but you know, at that depth, you don't have to do any stops or safety stops, or you know, you just need to come up slower than your bubbles. You know, just come up nice and slow. And you know, sometimes I would take like a minute or two on the hose, about 10 feet, just to try to degas or whatever. But one time I came up, you know, I degassed. I stayed on maybe a minute, and I came up, and then I just felt everything going black and tunnel vision, and you just feel your whole body tingling, and I almost passed out. That was just like a mild, probably nitrogen, you know, issue, but maybe it was something else. But I'm pretty sure it was just nitrogen buildup. Nothing. It wasn't an emergency, but you know, you could feel it. You could feel all that pressure and stuff. But with you can still dive deeper than 32 feet without nitrox, but you got to do like really long, heavy stays at you know, certain intervals as you come up. Some of them might be 10 or 15 minutes. It depends how long you stay down, and you know, I don't know. Just with nitrox, you can go down for 3.5 hours, and you can come right back up and just take like a 3-minute stop, and then you're good. You just got to wait 3.5 hours before you go back down. But that's when you're diving. That's when you're breathing 32% oxygen through the nitrox machine.
Well,
But
we have
if you don't have the nitrox, I think you only can do like 30 minutes or an hour. I forget. There's a whole thing of dive tables and charts that you got to do when you're diving. But it's not that long. You can only dive down for maybe like half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you would have to spend like 45 minutes decompressing as you came up too. So it's just better to use nitrox.
which leads into our next question from another viewer, MVP. He wants to know about your ears, and is that common from the episode at one time?
What's that again?
MVP wants to know about your ears and if that's common. Oh, that one time where you were bleeding.
Right. Yeah, no, that's not common. I don't know why that happened. I don't think it was actually just one dive. It was just repeated dives. I don't know. I have a really bad problem with like maybe some of my sinuses, my Quastus tube, whatever it's called, that tube that goes in your ear, that weird name. Well, when I dive down, like I can feel like all this pressure just building up, and I try to blow my ears and clear my ears as much as possible. Maybe that was part of it. Maybe I was clearing it too much. I don't know, but I kept on feeling all this pressure like constantly all the time. And then when I would come up, I would just feel it all just like kind of release. And like every time I came up, there was just blood just pouring out of my nose and then out of my ears. And I don't know. I mean, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I went down and I would go down slow and I would, I would pop my ears and clear my ears and everything constantly. I mean, I did everything you're supposed to do, but I would still come up with just blood pouring out. I have no idea. Maybe I just got bad sinus cavities or clogged up, or I mean, I'm not sure. But it happened both years. It wasn't like one or two dives. It was like almost every dive. Not my ears so much, but I would just be pouring blood out of my nose. No idea. Just the way I'm built, I guess. I don't know. Like I have no problem diving like 8 or 9 feet in rivers and stuff. I do it like all the time. Never had a problem. Never had an issue. I've never had like sinus problems or ear infections in my life. I've always been fine with that stuff. So I have no idea why it happens in the ocean. But yeah, I don't know anyone else that really happens to. It's not really a big deal. It's just kind of weird.
Or was that just mainly part of the TV show? But I understand, for you, it was, your thing, but the TV show made it more dramatic.
Yeah, they always do. But no, I mean, I went to the hospital and they checked it out, and I mean, I didn't pop my eardrum, which is good. I was just gonna go dive again. I'm like, yeah, well, it looks like hamburger, but it's like big deal, I just dove yesterday with it, so I might as well dive tomorrow. And they're like, no, and they put a scope in there, and on the other side of my eardrum, you could see a whole bunch of bubbles. It looked like a can of soda on the other side of my eardrum. It was just full of fluid with a ton of bubbles behind them. And they're like, see all those bubbles? When you dive, those will expand and contrast, and they could just like pop your eardrum up. He's like, you need to wait till that fluid clears through your that tube. And it's a slow thing. It takes like 3 or 4 weeks for that fluid to all come out of there. So what was that? The second season that happened? No, that was the first season I was on. So like it was the end of the season anyways. But they, so I just tended for like 2 weeks or whatever. And then the next season I dove a whole bunch, and I never had a problem with my ears, but my nose would bleed every time. But yeah, I mean, once they see all that blood and stuff, they want to, they're like, oh, we got to hop in the car with you and, take you to the hospital and do all this and that. Like, I wasn't even going to go to the hospital. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I got blood. I mean, it doesn't hurt. They're like, no, you got to go to the hospital. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll go to the hospital.
So Cass wants to know what's the deepest you've been down, and Brock Butcher was also asking what was the biggest nugget you found up this last run.
In Nome, the biggest nugget in Nome, we didn't find any really big ones. Maybe 2 or 3 grams was the biggest one. There's not very many nuggets in Nome. I know some people say they find some, whether that's true or not, I'm not really sure. But I mean, we dredged I can't say the S word. We dredged a lot in Nome in the last 3 or 4 years, and I mean, I find bigger gold in New England than I do in Nome. There's a ton of gold in Nome. It's all small, just because the ocean just constantly grinding all the gold up there through the currents and the tide and the ocean. And not only that, it traveled from way inland in the mountains and came through the glaciers, ground it all up, and the erosion, and then it finally got to the beach, and then the beach pounded the heck out of it, and then it finally went into the ocean where it kind of sat. So I mean, it's been pounded its whole life. So finding big gold in Nome, they do find big gold in the mountains still, like at the AKU camp. I've been up there and I've seen people with ones like silver dollar sized nuggets. I've seen a lot of really good gold, many 1 ounce plus nuggets come from the AKU camp, but they're in the mountains. not in the mountain, but like they're right behind Sean Palmrake's place in that hill up there.
And then you kind of touched on that 32 feet for the atmosphere, 1 atmosphere. Have you actually been down to 32 feet? What's the deepest you've been?
Yeah, oh yeah, because I mean, it'll be 30 feet, and we don't pay attention to tides or whatever because we forget. But we'll go out and it's 30 feet. You drop your anchor and you go down, and it's, next thing you know, you dredge down 2 or 3 feet, and then the tide comes up 2 or 3 feet, and next thing you're at like 36 feet or whatever. You're like, oh, a little too deep. let's go back in a little bit. Yeah, I would say the deepest I probably went, 32, 3, 4, 35. I didn't do any of the nitrox diving this year because I was captain of the boat. I was taking over for Vern for this season, so I didn't dive at all last summer. The other guys dive. I just tended and kept them alive. And those guys, but they were diving like 42, 43 feet. But when I dove, we didn't have nitrox, so the deepest we were supposed to go was 32 feet for the first 2 years that I dived up there. But yeah, that's pretty much the deepest that I've been. But yeah, I don't know. We didn't find a lot of big ones. Just a lot of pickers, half grammars. I should have sent edits my pictures. I forgot to.
Yeah, we talked about it, but I didn't remind you of it either. So.
Yeah, I forgot. But yeah, no. The biggest one we got in the last 3 years is like maybe 2-3 grams. A couple of them, 2 grammars, 3 grammars. But a lot of fine gold, that's for sure. I mean, piles of fine gold. But that's the next big thing there in Nome is everyone's going deeper. If you notice on the show, everyone's getting crawlers because for years and years and years, everyone there only dove up to 32 feet. So, a lot of that gold, from shore to 32 feet is it's getting harder and harder and harder to find, So with nitrox, you can dive that extra 10 feet. After that, it starts getting hard because you have to have, when we're diving, we got 55 feet of dredge hose, which is a lot of dredge hose, to suck up rocks and dirt and stuff. And if you go even deeper, now you need even a bigger hose, and it just gets hard handling that much hose. So the next big thing is crawlers. And the crawlers, they'll actually like classify the material under the water. Like Vernon just got that crawler dredge. I think it's 18-inch. So it'll suck up 18-inch material, and then it will classify it underwater and kind of go into a hopper. And then in that hopper, there's a 6-inch line that goes up to the boat to get processed in the sluice box. So a 6-inch hose is way easier to handle, 50, 60, 70 feet than an 8-inch or 10-inch, or some people are running 14-inch dredges, So, and with a crawler, there's no limit, really. You can go, there's crawlers in Nome that go 80 feet deep, and they're killing it. There's a lot of gold deep, and there's no diver can touch it, And no excavator dredge can touch it. Excavator dredges can only go like 18 to 24 feet or something like that.
Well,
so, yeah,
I asked, does everyone on the show get paid extra, or only the main cast?
Yeah, so that's one of the things. That's why I like working for the film crew, is because I get a weekly paycheck, and they pay really good. So every week I get a certain check, But when you're diving on one of these boats and they're filming you, you don't get any film. So you don't get any film money. The only people that get paid are the main characters. So now the main characters know that, their divers are taking time out of their day to do TV, and, they're making less gold because, the TV interrupts with everything. So, the main characters like Vernon or Emily will pay their divers, a certain amount of money to make up for their lost time or whatever. Like Vernon would say, hey guys, we made good TV today, here's a little extra, and he would hand us all a check, little extra on the side or whatever. But we were really there at a gold mine, so our money is actually coming from the gold, and that's it, whether like the other members paid their crew, like Chris Kelly, if he pays his crew some TV money, I don't know. He doesn't have to, or Bering doesn't have to pay us. He just does. Or, I know Emily pays some of her guys. So yeah, the money, the only TV money, just goes to the main characters. No one on the show, maybe some side characters that are important or whatever. They might get a little taste from TV or something, but all the divers, like majority of the people in there, they don't get any TV money. So it would be different, if I made TV money and I was there dredging and I made a little bit of dredge money, a little bit of TV money, I would definitely go up and just dredge all the time and do all that all the time. But working for the TV crew, I'm guaranteed a paycheck. I'm guaranteed a place to stay. Yeah, it's just better for me doing that. But I love doing both. It's fun. It was fun doing both. It's more profitable if I work for the TV company. But yeah, I mean, if I was a main character and they paid me, a main character check for the show, I would love to go out and get my own dredge and make gold and get paid TV money.
Yeah.
But no, it's different. Like the Whitewater show, everyone on that show got paid. So that's the thing about the TV show. So Bering Sea Gold, that's why it's more real, because we're not getting paid. So we don't have to say anything. They can't say, hey, you have to pretend this, or you have to say this, or you have to do this. They're not our boss. They don't pay us. So we just do what we do. If we don't feel like, if a camera guy comes up to me and says, hey, blah, 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 I could just, screw off. I'm not in the mood, and I can tell him to go away, and he has to go away. There's nothing he can do. He can't make me do it. And a lot of people do that, But on a show like Whitewater, all those people are getting paid. So in a sense, they're your work, that you're getting a paycheck, weekly paycheck from them being on the show. So in a way, you're not really working for like Dustin or Fred Hurt, or you're kind of working for the TV company. So they have a lot of say in what's going on. It's not like you can't go tell the camera guy, hey, I don't feel like filming today, go screw. They'll say, oh, well, you're fired, get out of here. You know what I mean?
Right.
But on Bering Sea Gold, they're not paying you, so you don't have to do nothing. I mean, you're really there just mining, and they're filming you. So you don't have to participate in anything,
Well, do the divers have to fill out anything with the captains or the TV, like saying,
yeah, they give me a contract.
You're going to be on TV. We have the rights to show you or something.
Yeah, so they just, all it is called the release form, and it's just like 3 or 4 pages, and all it just means is when they film you, they have the right to show it on the TV. They can edit it any way that they want. If you look like an idiot and they make you look like an idiot, tough luck, that's just what happened. They can just use whatever they want at any time on the show. And that's pretty much all that says.
Now, when it comes down to that, you being on both sides of the camera, who gets in the way the most? Usually the camera people or the dredgers,
What do you mean, who gets in the way the most?
When you're trying to be down under the water or under the ice, or even like, let's say up, Whitewater. When you're trying to dredge, they're trying to get the best shot that they can,
Right.
On both sides. What drives you the most?
So, I mean, you play ball. I mean, it's cool, like, when you're there dredging and a guy's there filming you and you're going to be on Discovery Channel in front of millions of people. You want to, like, hey, this is cool. You want to work with them and, make yourself look good. And, so, I mean, when they're there and they're like, hey, we're here to take a shot, what are you doing? Are you seeing gold? What's going on? Tell Vernon, how you feel. Ask Vernon if you're hot waters. They give you ideas to like what to say to make conversation to like, or the camera guy might say, hey, tell Vernon that the visibility is really bad. I don't know. They'll make conversation. Then you just go with the flow and you talk or whatever. And some of it's just really real. Just like, I'll be down there and see a lot of gold. I'm like, dude, Vern, look at all this gold. And I'm really getting a ton of gold. It's all over the place. And the camera guy zooms in and shows the gold. And so, I mean, a lot of the people want to work with them. There's some people that don't. And they just tell them, they won't even want to sign the release form. So those people, like the ones that you see blurred or whatever, those the people don't want anything to do with it. They don't sign the form. But I mean, pretty much, you play with them. You do you want to be filmed, and you're there because they're filming you anyway, so it's cool. So you just work with them. But I mean, they'll never ask you to do anything like fake or drama, like on purpose. Like drama just happens naturally, just being there, you know. I mean,
a lot of it seems to be Murphy showing up.
Yeah, I mean, we don't break stuff on purpose. I mean, stuff breaks. Even to me on the river, just doing my recreational stuff, your stuff breaks all the time, and it just that's what causes drama on the show, and they need a little bit of, you know. You got to remember, the show is like entertainment. It's there to entertain you for an hour. It's not there as a documentary. You know, there's two different things. There's gold documentaries where they go and actually, you know, 100% factual do stuff, and then you got shows that are entertainment. So, it's not a documentary show; it's an entertainment show. I mean, they show what's going on. Pretty, you know, it's pretty real, but they're still there to entertain you. So they got to throw in drama and stupid stuff to keep your people entertained or whatever.
Here's a question that'll lead us back into kind of what you're doing currently, and not necessarily dredging, but somebody, Joe Rickner asked if you back up. Will you ever host a dig and invite people to dredge?
Host an outing, an event.
That's kind of like what I'm doing now. So, but right now I'm on. So I bought like 40 acres of property here in Maine, and it's got a stream on it. I didn't get a chance to prospect it yet, but my buddy John, that's in a lot of my photos, the older guy, a lot of my YouTube videos, he came down here because he doesn't live far away. He did like 3 or 4 pans and found some flower gold, so it's kind of cool. I know the stream that I'm on is not definitely a big gold stream, but there's probably some gold in it. But anyways, right now, actually today, I just started working on a big loop up top near the road, and I'm gonna make campsites up there. And you know, I'm just making like a fun place here where people can come and camp, and you know, I'll have like a pavilion and an outdoor kitchen, and I got a stream right here. And actually, there's a stream right in front of me here. This is a side. I got 2 side streams and then 1 big brook. So there's a lot of places to pan and sluice and dredge and stuff where I am now. And I'll just do it for fun, and just you know, people can come and make a campsite. I'm gonna make like, I don't know, 4 or 5 campsites. They can come and hang out and just have a good time and do some dredging. Maybe, you know, just show people that don't know how or whatever. Just something for fun, you know, not like a business or nothing like that.
Well, now when you do that, are you gonna? Is it pretty much like bring your own food, or are you gonna have a night where you cook or something? Or
Oh man, that's years down the road. I got a long ways to go. This is raw land here, so I mean, I'm trying to make roads and do. Today I did a couple culverts that I had to get water because the road just is all muddy and stuff. I'm not really thinking. I'm just playing and having a good time. You know, just making. I'm gonna make a loop tomorrow. We'll start the loop tomorrow, but I mean, it'll take me a week to. I got a lot of trees I got to cut to make a road and do the water ditching and all that. But I'm just going with the flow. In the way back here, I'll have like an off-grid site, and then near the road, I'll have an on-grid site because I got power at the road. But I'm more interested in making a road like a half mile down into the property and do like an off-grid kind of thing where the big brook is.
Cool.
But yeah, no, I'm not gonna like start a business. I got too much going on to do that. I'm just poking when I got time off. And
I'm curious. Back to TV now. Sorry, Brian. But does the same production, the company that does Gold Rush Whitewater, do Bering Sea Gold? Is that
No.
all?
No, so Raw TV makes Whitewater and Gold Rush, and like I think they do Dave Turns and what's that other one? I think they do all that.
Mine
and then,
Rescue and
yeah, I think that's all Raw TV. And those guys are actually, they're from England. They're English, and they're a company from England that come over here and film all that stuff.
oh, I gotta change that on my post then.
That's right. So the company that does Bering Sea Gold is called Original Productions, and they do a lot of the Alaska stuff. They do like Ice Road Trekkers, they do Yukon Men, they do They do Jay Leno's Garage. They do medical shows. They do I forget. There's a whole list of shows, but they do all those shows. They do Alaska Frontier. That's where Jane came from.
Okay.
So all the camera guys that were working on our show already knew Jane, which is kind of cool. So they a lot of those camera guys actually filled that show. Oh, Deadliest Catch, original production does Deadliest Catch. I think they do Wicked Tuna. They do a lot of shows. But Raw TV, I don't know what else they do besides the gold ones. They probably do a lot of English stuff over in England. I don't know. But ours is original. They just call it OP, original production.
Right on.
Yep. But yeah, if anyone wants to go to Nome, I know it's on a lot of people's bucket list to go up there. They do have a few like motels and like B&Bs and stuff, but it's expensive. You're looking at like $300 minimum per night, you know. So the best thing if you ever want to go to Nome and just experience it and go for a vacation or something, you probably just want to go to that. It's called AKAU. It's called and that's Augie's place. They got a Facebook page or whatever. I think it's like $2,500 a week or something. But you get your food and you get a place to stay. And I think it's a little extra if you want a four-wheeler. But every day they'll take you out and do something. Like they'll take you out and go fishing, or they'll take you out and do metal detecting is their big thing. And they do have a 6-inch dredge, but they're not really a dredging operation. So I wouldn't really expect to go there and do dredging.
Right.
I know they do have one, but I don't think they very rarely like take people to do it. Unless things changed, but they do have one dredge for river dredging. And most of the people, they have like they have probably a dozen like high bankers set up at their property. And at their property, there's a ton of really big old, really huge history if you read about the area that they're in. So they'll just dig up mounds of dirt, and then people just run it in the right next to the camp right there. And they don't really do any beach mining that I don't think, but you can do whatever you want when you're there for the week. If you rent the four-wheeler, you can go out to the beach and you can do whatever you want. But I think for a lot of people that want to go to Nome, that's probably your best bet. And so all you got to do is just book an airline ticket. So it's, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, $500-$600 for a round trip on Alaska Airlines. Once you get there, you go to the AKU camp, and what you can do is you can ship stuff up there, like by UPS or whatever doesn't fit in your suitcase or whatever. They have a FedEx up there, UPS, and then United States Postal Service. But everything has to be flown in or shipped in. There's no roads, obviously.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was just saying, just in case anybody wanted to do a trip up there, that's your best bet. Like I said, they do have hotels, but it's expensive, you know. It might even be $400 or something like that. I'm not even sure. But there's no car rental place there, so you can't rent cars. Some locals might like rent their cars or something, but you have to go on Facebook to something called like Gnome Post, and people might rent you four-wheelers, and it's all just private, things. There's no like enterprise up there. You can't like go rent a car.
So it's AKAU, Alaskan Gold and Resort, right?
Yeah, AKAU.
Yeah, I just posted the link to it.
Now, have you ever been there?
Yeah.
What do you
So
like
AKAU's
better? 40 Mile out of Chicken? That
right. So
camp?
if you like dredging, like, so I went to the Chicken Gold camp, Gold Fever Prospecting in Chicken, Alaska, and that one's 100% dedicated dredging. Like that's all they do all day long. And I did the 10-day trip. I think it was like $3,500. But they own 10 miles of the 40-mile river. So all you do, you wind up in Fairbanks, and they pick you up in Fairbanks in a truck and a bus, and they ship you all the way, they drive you all the way down to Chicken. So it's like a 6-hour drive from Fairbanks. And then from there, they take you on a hovercraft down the river, because the river's shallow. You can't like take a regular boat. like it's shallow spots and rocks and stuff. So they use a big hovercraft, and you go 17 miles down, and that's where their camp is. So once you're there, you're there. You're not leaving for 10 days. It don't matter. You're stuck there unless there's like a catastrophic emergency or something. But once you're there, that's all there is dredges. They have like 6 or 7 dredges, like 6-inch dredges, maybe more. And then they got a Super 6, which has the main sluice box, and then the 2 on the side. It's got a hopper that refeeds. And then they got an 8-inch dredge, and then they got a 10-inch dredge. I think you can rent the 8-inch. I'm not sure, but the 10-inch is their commercial side. So they got a camp going on, and then they got a commercial side on the 10-inch. So, anyways, I went there once to do the 6-inch, and I was there 10 days. I think I got almost 2 ounces of gold, and you keep everything you find, So at the time, I mean, that's $4,000. I think the trip was $3,500, but with airfare and the hotel, it came out to kind of be a wash for me. Some people get a lot more gold, some people get a lot less gold. But when you're there, that's all there is. You wake up, they feed you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all the food's included. And you wake up, you eat breakfast, and then they take you on the hovercraft to wherever you want to go. You take your dredge, your 6-inch dredge, and you can choose wherever you want to go. They don't tell you where to go.
Okay.
So looking at this
Drop it off.
website, they're saying that next year they're having a mine lab week. Is that something
Oh, are they?
typical or
That's
something they
cool.
just started doing?
That's AKU camp, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, AKU, they do it every year. And I usually see Debbie's always up there, and then Mike Pung usually goes to that, so I'll see Mike Pung up there. But that's the AKU camp. They do that every year. That's the AKU camp. That's the one in Nome, not the Chickasaw. So
and if you want a high bank and stuff, and check out Nome and quad around, AKU camp's the way to go, right?
Right. Yeah. If you want to see Nome and do metal detecting and high banking, that's where to go. If you want to dredge, I go to the one in Chicken. That's hardcore dredging. I've done both, and actually, I've never been a guest at the AKU camp, but we go up there just about every Wednesday. Usually on Wednesdays is when Sean will go up, Emily goes up, Vernon will go up, I'll go up, and it's kind of like an open community night. So we go up and they feed us dinner, and then we'll go and meet all the fans and everything. We sign gold pans and
We'll work for food.
Yeah, we kind of just work, give out autographs for food. But we'll go up. Yeah, I mean, you get a chance. Sean usually goes up, so if you stay at the AKU camp, a lot of the cast members go up and they'll come say hi and hang out and eat dinner with you. Not guaranteed. It's all it's all up in the air, but that's what we would do. Like usually, I'll go up there every Wednesday and get a free meal because a meal in Nome's like $40 for a hamburger.
Speaking of meals, we were just in chat asking about if there was any fast food joints in Nome, and I said I thought there was a Subway there. And
yeah, that's it. There's a Subway, and a Subway sandwich is like $23.
I said it was probably about $30 for a 12-footer.
Yeah.
I was almost right on spot.
Yeah, no, that's the only fast food they got there is a Subway. It's not really fast.
Is anything really fast in Nome?
No. Usually for lunch. So I go to the AC Company, and that's like a food place, like a grocery store. And in the back they have like a little deli kind of area, and they make lunches like Chinese food in little containers, or fried chicken, or they have all different stuff that they'll make every day. And just go there and grab one of the whatever they make for the day. I don't know. It's like maybe $9 or something for just like a little container of whatever they make. That's your best bet for a quick lunch. But they have a couple restaurants there. Definitely nothing fancy. But expect to pay just a basic hamburger, like hamburger, fries, drink, or whatever. It's like $25.
Now, if they approach you, go on Gold Rush White Water again, would you?
Yeah, I mean, I got offered twice already, but it didn't work out. So I was gonna go on. They offered me. Oh man, I think it was season 3. And out of the blue, I don't even know how or why, just out of the blue, it was early in the morning. I like just woke up, I was making coffee. My phone rings, says unknown number, whatever. I answered it. And he was like, "Hello, is this Bryan Wilder?" I'm like, "Yeah, who's it?" He's like, "This is Fred Hurt." I'm like, "Damn, it sounded like Fred Hurt." At first I thought it was like someone joking around, but it was freaking Fred Hurt. And we talked for like a half an hour just about random stuff and not even anything about gold or anything. He was interviewing me, I kind of figured. So I just went with it and just talked to him. And after half an hour, he was like, "Oh, the reason why I called you is because I want you to come join my team this season." I'm like, "Yeah, that would be awesome, you know?" But it came down, he's like, "Hey, he really wanted me to join his team and actually mine for gold for real." But like what I was saying before, he's like, Fred Hurt was like, "I can't hire you. It's up to Raw TV to hire you." He's like, "I sent all your information already to Tim Dolby, the executive producer of Gold Rush." He's like, "He'll be calling you in a few minutes when we're done with this call. And, you have to go through the process with him." He's like, "There'll be, other people that we're looking for." But he's like, "I'm really voting for you. I really want you on my team because I know you can get gold. You're a good dredger, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "But sometimes that's not what the TV aspect's looking for, like going back to drama and like TV crap,
Right.
So he's like, "I'm rooting for you," but he's like, "It's not my choice. It's up to Tim Dolby." And then, we got off the phone, and sure enough, a few minutes later, Tim Dolby, he called, and we set up times for Zoom meetings. And oh man, it was a long process. Like, he called, we talked like 2 or 3 times. We had like 2 or 3 Zoom meetings. I had to like send in like videos of me. I think it was something stupid, like shake up a can of Coke and open it, and then what's your reaction? Like reaction videos and stupidest stuff. Like this whole huge long process. Anyways, at the very end, they rode me all the way through until like 2 weeks before I was supposed to go. And he was like, kept on saying, yeah, everything's looking good. You're going. And then like 2 weeks before I was supposed to go, they're like, "Oh, actually, we got someone else to go." So I'm like, "Well, that sucks. You dragged me through this whole thing." Anyways, I was like, yeah, cool, whatever, And then, so that's how I learned about this whole TV process, because I already been through it. And then when Vernon called me, Vernon messaged me on Facebook. Actually, when I was going to that chicken camp for the very first time, when I went to the chicken dredging camp, on that trip, the day that I was going on that trip, they were picking me up at the hotel. I was with Jim Hamilton and Don from Amra. All 3 of us went together. And we're sitting there, and then Vernon actually, what happened was I was on the plane, and I took a picture of the glaciers going over Alaska. I'm like, "Hey, I'm finally going to Alaska to go dredging," whatever I said on Facebook. And then Vernon, on the message below, he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, are you coming to Nome?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm going to Chicken." He's like, "Oh, that's too bad." I'm like, "Why, you looking for someone?" He was like, yeah, I need a dredger." And then gave him my number, and he called me, and with him, this was like right at the height of COVID, right? When everything shut down, and like there was like nothing was going on. I just figured that the TV show like was on hold because of COVID. So I figured Vernon called me because he need guys to dive, because the TV guys, I figured they're all paid and actors and all that. So I figured the whole show was, on hold. So I thought Vernon was really still trying to get gold, and he just needed regular divers. So I'm like, "Oh, that'd be cool experience, So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go chicken. So I went to chicken, did my chicken thing. And when I was at the chicken dredge camp, those guys offered me a job to go work for them on their 10-inch dredge in chicken. I'm like, "Oh man, this is sick." I was like, "Yeah, that'd be really cool." I was like, "I just got a job offer from Vernon to go to Nome." So I'm like, damn. I was like, "Let me try this Nome thing, and if it don't work out, I'll come work for you guys on the 10-inch dredge." Right after. I'm like, "Yeah, cool." So anyways, right after I got back from chicken, I went over to Nome. And so when I was talking to Vernon, nothing about TV, no interviews, no Zoom meetings, Vernon didn't even mention TV. And I didn't want to ask about it. I mean, I know he does TV, but it was, like I said, it was a super height of COVID. Everything was closed down. There was like cattle gates at the airport, and you had to do all this stuff. It was like the crazy time, right? So I got off the plane in Nome, and as soon as I got off the plane, a van rolled up, and there was like 3 sound guys came and shoved microphones on me. TV cameras popped out from everywhere, and he didn't tell me anything about it. There was not one mention about they're going to be filming for TV. And my conversation with Vern were like really brief. He was like, yeah, just come down here. And he's like, "You know how to dive? You know how to dredge? Yeah, I need a dredger. Come on down." And that was basically the extent of our conversation. And when I got down there, no mention of TV, no, like, I thought it was going to be like Whitewater, where the Zoom meetings of the executive producer and all this crap that, well, you know, but when I showed up, yeah, they just started filming, and I was like, whoa, totally unexpected. So that's my crazy gnome story. And then actually last year, so I contacted them after I worked for the film company. I asked Whitewater if they needed a utility guy, because I was starting to get into the film production. So they canceled our show. Well, they put our show on hold. And so I contacted the executive producer there, which my producer on our show knows her very well. So, you know, he put in a good word, and we had a whole bunch of conversation about me going being the campsite manager. So just making sure all the camera guys are happy and the campfire is going and everyone's fed well and everything's good and the generators are working and, you know, the batteries are trying. I don't know, you know, the campsite manager, whatever that means. But anyways, I got interviewed for that with that. So, and I thought that was a good to go. But then I contacted, so like a week went by. I thought I got the job because the way that we're talking, you know, everything is like, you know, pretty much you're going. So I'm like, oh, cool, you know. And then like a week goes by, I didn't hear anything. So I asked my production guy that knows her. I was like, hey, did you hear anything about that job offering? They're like, no, actually, they were considering you to be cast this year. I'm like, well, when I talked to them, they wanted me to work for production for them. They're like, no, they're waiting to see if everyone showed up. And if someone didn't show up, they wanted you to work cast. I'm like, well, that's not what they said. So anyways, that was the second time, but that was for this season. But I guess it didn't work out. And then I heard when I went up to Nome, that's why, so since that didn't work out, then I went and helped Vernon. And then when I was up there, the Todd Hoffman, he films up there too. So I saw their production team at the bar. And when I was at the bar there, they told me that they didn't film Whitewater this season. But then I just heard today that someone said they heard from Jim Hamm that they finished up their season. So I guess they did film. I don't know. But the Todd Hoffman crew, which is the same company, said, no, those guys didn't film this year. Like, oh, that's probably why they didn't get back to me, I guess.
Right.
So I don't know. It's up in the air. It's weird. That's the other cool thing in Nome. You'll see Todd Hoffman and those guys all came onto the boat. So Todd Hoffman and Ferber and the old man. One time I was on the boat, and here comes Vernon, comes down. Right behind him's Todd Hoffman and all these guys. Like, holy, well, I can't swear, but I'm like, damn, this is really weird. Like right on the boat, like all these superstars are like right on the boat. Like this is, I mean, face to face to Todd Hoffman and his whole crew and Vernon and everyone was up. That was a cool day. But yeah,
That's
but
cool.
Todd Hoffman's film crew, they're all up there, so they're all having a good time, and so it's kind of cool. Nome, you know, there's a lot of people in Nome right now. But yeah, you'll see. I saw Jack, the old man, at the hardware store like all the time. Todd Hoffman's kid went down to the bar a few times. Or not the bar. I saw him at the gas station a few times. I don't think he goes to the bar. You'll just see the crew in and around town. It's really cool.
So
It's kinda
speaking of
funny, like,
town,
going-
someone asked if there's a lot of prospect shops. You know?
No, there's none. If you want a gold pen, you can't get one in Nome. You got to order it. There's no
Wow.
gold. Well, I mean, the hardware store might have a gold pan or two, but there's no sluice spot. There's no dredges there. There's no prospecting store. No. The hardware store carries a couple things like pressure hose, maybe some couplings. I know Napa carried like a trash water pump. Other than that, there's no prospecting store. Like if you need vials or gold pans or anything like that, you got to order from Amazon and wait 3 weeks before it gets there.
You know, like historically, where there used to be shops and.
I mean, probably back in the day, maybe just like hardware stores would carry stuff, but I mean, even today, the hardware store carries a couple of things, but nothing. They might have a couple pans, or some snuffer tubes. I think they got. That's about it. Yeah, there's no prospecting store. No. because I mean, the people that go there, they're all they're not your weekend warrior that spends that kind of money on that stuff. You know, they're all multi-million-dollar boats and companies, and you know.
There isn't guys just going up there to work the beach in the public area or dredge to try their luck in the public dredge
Not really,
areas.
because people that go there on vacation, they can't bring a dredge with them because you know whatever you can fit in your suitcase is pretty much what you can bring to Nome. So there's actually not a lot of people that go there for like a vacation unless they go to the AKU camp. There's just not a demand for it really. People that go to Nome, they go with $1 million and they buy like boats and big dredges, and you know they're not there to spend money on a 4-inch dredge or you know a beach box or something.
Right.
You'll see them for sale, like at Nome Post on Facebook. There's a group called Nome Post, and pretty much if you want to buy anything, that's where you go. And there'll be people who sell a beach box, or a lot of the people like the locals there. They'll like they'll just go to the hardware store and they'll buy plywood and they make a sluice box. I've seen lots of homemade ones up there. They'll just make it out of plywood or something.
Caleb, full of gold from Australia, he's like, I feel like Nome has a high crime rate, so if you had a gold prospecting shop, it would get broken into a lot. How is the crime rate in Nome?
It's not bad. There's still a lot of fighting. It's like it's kind of like a town that's stuck in the 50s, I guess. You know, everyone still kind of like looks out on their own. People leave their keys in their car because there's nowhere to go. You're in Nome. There's like no one can steal your car and go somewhere. But sometimes the kids do. Like since there's a lot of people that do leave their keys in the car, like some of the teenagers might take a car and go joyride or something. But
right,
you'll always get it back. You know, they just get drunk and take a car and go for a ride, and you'll find it like 5 miles down the road. I mean, there's nowhere to go really.
Well, like Moto Mining from British Columbia, Vancouver Island says, you know everybody, they won't get away with it, so
Yeah,
pretty much
I mean,
all the locals know who trouble is already, so.
no, it's kind of weird because I mean, like state police, there is a state police thing up there, but they're people, they're not full time. They'll come up and they have to do like 2 weeks and then they go back home, and then there's a new cop, he comes up 2 weeks and go back home. It's kind of like on a cycle. They do have like a Nome town police, but they really don't do anything. Like just a quick story. I think it was my first year there. I was on the boat, and I bring a firearm with me. I had a Glock with me, so I always kept the Glock under my pillow on my bed, you know. And then if I go out, I'll take it. Like me and Gary actually went out. We went to a dredge and we were prospecting on a dredge. So I brought it with me in case it was a bear or something, you know. So I had it in the car and I put it under the seat. And when I came back home, I forgot. So anyways, I'm there in bed. It's late. It's like, you know, 1 a.m. or something. And all of a sudden I heard boom, like right next to my door, like right on the dock. I'm like, what the heck's going on? I go to reach my gun. It's not there. I'm like, oh man, I don't even have my gun. I'm going to get killed. I was like, what's going on? You know, and it was a loud shot. It was like a 357 Magnum or 44 or something. Loud gunshot. So I'm like, what the heck? I peek my head out of the boat, and it's the guy's next door to me. And I heard him like start running after someone. I'm like, dude, what's going on? What's going on? He's like, this kid just tried taking my car. So he like shot at the kid, right? And then the kid was so scared, he had his keys. He got his keys out of the car, and the kid ran, and he went under a building. There's like, it's a building on pilings. So there's like 2-3, you know, crawl space, 2 or 3 foot crawl space that he went and hit, and he was shining a flashlight. I could see him, right? He was like, give me my damn key. He called the cops, and then the cops came, shining. He's like, the kid's right there. And the cops was like, nothing I can do. He'll come out sometime. He's like, he's got my keys. And the cops know he shot, guns are involved. He's like, whatever, he'll come out. And the cop left. Like, whatever. Like, Nome's a whole different place, you know?
I wonder if the cops are more worried about people smuggling alcohol to the natives.
Yeah, So that's what the state cops do. So like Nome is the only place in that whole area for like 500 miles. There's a whole bunch of like tribes and native villages and stuff. But Nome is the only place that they have like 3 alcohol stores or liquor stores, and then they have like 3 pot stores. And so all the other towns are all dry. So they go on like pilgrimages, you know, to Nome. Like all the people from all around, they'll come from like 50 miles on snow machines or ATVs or whatever. And they come to Nome to go buy a bunch of alcohol and get drunk and smoke weed and stuff because they can't in their villages, you know, it's illegal. So that's why Nome has like a kind of a rough name. And when these people come here, they have no place to stay, you know, maybe they have some friend's house or whatever. But a lot of the natives that come from all their villages, they have no place to stay, and they just go, they buy a bunch of, you know, booze and pot, and they just hang out in town. So, I mean, when you go on Front Street, there's people fighting, there's pools of blood all over the place. You go to the bar, people are fighting in the bar. It's like the Old West. It's
From
kind
what
of
I
fun.
hear, there's other things happening out in Plainview too, which
Dirty deeds done,
done
dirt
dirt cheap.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to be careful. So a lot of these native girls, they see these, you know, miners come, and they're far from home. They're by themselves because they're mining, you know. So, you know, they kind of try to hook up with you, and then they try as hard as they can to get pregnant, and it happens to a lot of the miners. So these girls get pregnant, and now you gotta pay for their, you know, child services and well, their, you know, child support and all that. You gotta
Right.
keep paying them money. So there's a lot of people fall victim for that.
Don't
No,
get too involved with those, huh? Keep your
no,
nose
there's
clean.
not like violent crime. It's just all dumb, like, you know, just people fighting in the street. But they keep to themselves, like the native people. They usually just fight with each other, and like white guys will fight with each other. You know, it's like the miners will fight, and like it's like 2 groups of people that leave each other alone. But there's like a lot of problems with both groups. You know, usually a lot of miners fighting all the time, and I saw a lot of fights at the bar. And then the natives, they're in the road, like in the alleys and in the road, and they're all yelling and screaming and fighting. I have so many videos, like really funny videos, because they're just wasted and they're all fighting and just, oh, it's funny. It's funny as hell. Sometimes it's funny just like when you're bored, just to sit on Front Street in Nome, just sit there and just watch. It's like total entertainment.
So
But-
for like people that just want to go there, you have any warning? Like, you know, you should have it planned out. You should know where you got to stay. You should know if you're going to have a job. You know, don't just show up.
Yeah, no, that's what I was trying to say. If you want to do the Nome thing, just I would just go to that AKU camp for a week and just experience it, you know, and then just see what it's like. You know, a lot of people make a mistake. They quit their job and then they go to Nome and go to the beach, and then they're like, I'll live out on the beach. Living on the beach in Nome is like 10 times harder than anywhere else in the world. I mean, the wind's constantly going, so your tent's always crashing and banging, and it's always wet. Everything you have is soaking wet. I don't care how many plastic tarps you got or whatever. Your bedding's wet. Your sleeping bag's soaked. Your clothes are wet. It just, I don't know. It's just.
So there's
go to
nowhere
the
you
AKU
can
camp
go
first.
to set up a yurt or anything like Ezekiel, huh? Is that his name?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go and like buy some land and put up a yurt or something like that, but I would experience Nome first and make sure it's for you. Like people,
Right.
there's so many people that go to Nome, like I was saying, they quit the job, they go and they buy a dredge, and then they'll dredge once, like they'll hop in the ocean and then freak out and like, I can't do this. Like they totally like freak out, and they'll wind up looking for divers. So that's a big thing in Nome is like there's all these boats and all these captains, but they have no divers because there's a huge shortage of divers to actually go down and dive and get the gold. It's not like river dredging at all. It's completely different. It's scary. It's freaky. I mean, you're down 30 feet on this rickety boat, you know, with rickety air system. And I mean, just think one belt that slips off the air system, they fall off all the time. You know, if that falls off, you're out of air. You know, it's scary. It's freaky.
Right.
Even when everything's going right and bottom, I mean, look up, look 30 feet up in the air, like to the top of a telephone pole. And that's where your air is if an emergency happens. And not only that, you got, you know, 80 pounds of lead strapped to you, and you're in a wetsuit that's it's so thick because it's so cold. You have these huge gloves on. You can't like you can't grab anything and like you think you can just whip a weight belt off, but when you're all like bundled up in all this wetsuit thing with huge thick gloves on, and you run out of air and you look up and you're 30 feet from your air, I mean, it's freaky, you know. And a lot of people totally freak out on that.
How big's the reserve tank?
Yeah, but the only problem is there's nowhere in Nome that fills air tanks, so
No,
and you can't bring one on the plane.
You don't
can't
have
bring-
a reserve tank on your compressor like you would on your 4-inch?
Well, I mean, a reserve tank and for the air system. I thought you meant like a spare scuba tank or something.
Right.
No, there is a reserve, but actually, to give you a good example, so our umbilical is like 75 feet long because you know, we're diving 40 feet, and the diver needs to go out 20 feet from where he is. So, anyways, the air hose that goes to the mask, there was a split in it with barbs on it and clamps, right? So all of a sudden, Gary was down. This just happened like a month ago. Gary was down. He's down 42 feet. I'm watching his air. I'm really, when I'm working, I'm really on top of everything. Because if someone dies, dude, it's up to me, you know? So I'm like dead fast on watching that air. I'm not on my phone. I'm not doing anything stupid. I'm watching the air pressure, making sure everything's good. And good thing I was, because all of a sudden, I'm watching the air, and all of a sudden it just drops from 110, just goes, it goes down to 20. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And I heard a noise. So I ran outside, and the air that was past the reserve tank, and it was on the umbilical where it was
Right.
spliced together. It popped open.
Oh.
And good thing that where it popped open was up on deck, because if that part was under the water, I would have never heard it or seen it. I just ran outside because I heard the psh from outside, like something's up. I saw the thing, and I ran out there and I put the two together quick. And I'm like, dude, you're almost out of air. You're almost out. It's like, let me put it back together, and the air pressure finally get back up. I'm like, no, okay, you're good. And he's like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, you almost ran out of air, but I got it. You're good. Keep diving, keep dredging. So, I mean, emergencies happen, even with the reserve. So some people say, just have a spare tank with you, which would work, but there's nowhere in Nome to fill that tank, because you need 2,000, like those dive tanks are 2,000 psi. So you need a very special compressor to do it. Thank God we had the camera crew there, because the camera crew was the only people in town that had, they used scuba tanks to dive when they did their dive. So they had their own private personal one that they wouldn't fill up anyone's, because it's all, it's specialized just for them. Like, it's all certified, and they got to get it rebuilt every year. And like, it's a company thing. So they don't fill anyone else's. But when I was there, I had like this little tiny bottle, and they agreed to fill mine. So they filled mine for me, so I got lucky. So, but if you brought one with you, there's no place in Nome to fill it, is the problem. And you can't bring a filled bottle in the airplane.
Right.
So even if you did have a spare bottle in the airplane, it's got to be empty. And when you go to Nome, you can't fill it anywhere unless you buy that compressor, which you have to have shipped up. And those compressors are like $4,000 or $5,000.
Right. I'm surprised there ain't a little scuba shop there,
there's no scuba
or Sean Pomeranke don't have a way to fill up their tanks, or the fire department or something.
No, I mean, maybe the fire department, but they're all, they don't want to do it because they don't want to be responsible, if something messes up or whatever.
People were kind of asking in the chat about this kind of topic about is there any place prospecting shops and stuff, or and then now this air. Do you think if somebody was to go out there and start a business like that, they would survive, or you think there would just be not the demand for it?
Well, that's the thing. Like I'm trying to say is like, so Nome is all it's all the big boys. It's all the big dogs up there. Like, no one's gonna go in the prospecting store and buy like a 4-inch dredge or a sluice box. These guys are buying $1 million crawlers and
right.
And the people that go to Nome, they're getting off an airplane, so they're not going to go there and buy a sluice box because they got to bring it back home. Or they buy one, you know what I mean? So, I wouldn't think it's a good idea. If you went up there and sold a 4-inch dredge to someone, unless they live there or something, you just how would the customer get it back home, you know? And the people that live there, they really don't dredge. Like, you know, I don't know. They
What about the
there's not a lot.
streams and rivers? Are there
Well,
any open land or anything
yeah,
where you could
there's
dredge
some.
rivers and streams?
I don't think any of it's open. I think you need to have a claim, but it's very limited because the native people own like 99% of all the land. There's rivers with so much gold in it, but you can't touch it. It's all native land. Like and those guys, they don't do any mining. Very, very few natives will do
There
mining.
you go. You're a single man. You get a native girl just for that.
Well, yeah, that's what you can do. But then you got to go to like the board, and you got to like
Well, you're in
they
there.
know what you're up to, you know. But yeah, no, I mean, I wish those guys are really into mining because they own all the land up there, and there is rivers just loaded with gold that aren't even touched because you know, it's native land. And
Now,
I don't
what
think they
have
really
you
allow
heard
anyone.
stories about white prospectors caught prospecting or doing the mining on native land?
Nah, to tell you the truth, because it's still kind of the Wild West up there. People kind of stick to the Wild West rules, you know. there's quite a few people that go missing in Nome. There's a lot of missing posters up there. If you go to the supermarket, I'm not even lying. There's missing persons posters. Quite a few of them. People pretty much. I mean, there are claims on some rivers here and there. So pretty much you got to talk to people. Like I talked to a few guys at the bar. I'm like that I know have some claims up there, and you know, you buy them a few drinks, and like, dude, all right, let me go dredge. You know, you're doing your excavator and trommel thing on your claim. I was like, you don't touch the creek. Let me come up and dredge it. You know, what do you care? Like, yeah, fine, whatever. Buy me 2 more drinks and you can come up. Here's another $30, and you know.
Now,
You know,
I thought you went dredging on a small river one time
yeah.
there.
They showed that in the show on Clara Creek, and so that was geez, now I forget. Arctic Mining. He's on Facebook. Arctic Mining. Now I forget his name. But anyways, so yeah, we made the deal because the first year I was up there, we actually didn't go out dredging very much on Vern's boat, so I wanted to go dredge. So I made a deal with that guy, and he was like, yeah, come on up. So I started dredging inland. I borrowed Vernon had a 4-inch dredge. So I went inland on Clara Creek, and I was just dredging by myself on like the days that I had off or bad weather days or whatever.
Right.
So I was there, I was dredging, and then the film crew were like, hey, what are you up to? What's going on? What's that dredge in the back? I'm like, well, I'm just going up to Clara Creek because, you know, bad weather, or we just, you know, weren't going out or whatever. And they're like, oh, dude, that's sick. Let's, let me talk to the producer, see what's going on. Blah, blah. And anyways, next thing you know, the next day, here comes Vernon and the whole camera crew, and we're going to Clara Creek to go dredge it. And they filmed the whole thing, you know. I was like, geez, I was just trying to get away, you know, get some gold out in the wilderness. And next thing you know, the whole camera crew came and followed us and filmed the whole thing.
Damn it, can't even get away for one afternoon of dredging.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as open places, I don't think anything's open. Some of it you can claim, and whatever's available to claim, I think is already claimed. And you just got to ask permission. And then, as far as I know, there's no open recreational, except for the beach. There's 2 sections on the beach, on Nome Beach, that's recreational where you can go. Or you can actually dredge in those. There's two. One's a 6-inch and below, and the other one's an 8-inch below rec area that the state owns. And you can go there to mine on the beach and mine in the ocean. But other than that, I don't think there's any other recreational.
Are there anyone on those beaches trying their luck, trying to build up and earn a reputation in the rough streets of Nome?
Yeah, there's a lot of mine. I mean, they're mostly I don't know, people who went up there and they just like screwed on going to Nome and live on the beach and mine, and they do it. Like Alex is one of them. He keeps coming back year after year. It's hard living. It's not. But I mean, in a season on the beach, if you work really hard, I mean, who knows what you can make? I would say anywhere from 15 to 30 ounces if you work like all season, every day, really hard. But then again, when you're there, I mean, the cost of fuel, the cost of a four-wheeler, because you got to buy your four-wheeler. Even if you're living on the beach, you're spending half of that just living in Nome, So if you spend the whole season up there and work your butt off, you might leave with 10 ounces to go back home with the next 8 months to live on. Plus, you need an airplane ticket to go home, which is like $600.
Joseph Smith has a question for a friend. Do they have good bud up there in Nome? Asking for
I don't
a friend.
know. I think I'm like the last person on earth that doesn't smoke pot, but everyone that I know and everything. I mean, I stopped at that store so many times so people could go shopping. I went in once just to check it out. I'm not sure the prices or anything, but they got everything you need. I mean, there's pot everywhere, pre-rolls and just jars and jars and jars of pot. And there's like 3 pot stores. I think everyone says it's expensive. I really don't know. I don't smoke. For some reason, I tried it a few times, just never liked it.
Now, how hard is it to get your Havanas up there? Or do you come well prepared and stocked?
I bring a whole ammo case full of cigars with me. I think there's 92 in. And then when those get low, I can you can order them, and just if you order something up there from Amazon, I made several orders from Amazon, and it takes like 2 to 3 weeks to actually get your stuff, and half of your stuff actually, they'll lose half of your stuff. Like I made so many claims on Amazon that I didn't get my stuff, and then actually quite a few times, like maybe 6 weeks later, you'll actually get, like, I try to order food from Amazon to bring, like anything like Campbell's soup or ramen noodles. Actually, you can buy a case of ramen noodles on Amazon for like $6, and Nome they're like $30. So I'll try to buy stuff on Amazon and have it shipped up, and they'll lose it. Like randomly,
Now,
like six weeks down the road, your ramen noodles showed up. It's like I'm leaving it. But yeah, you can order stuff. But the thing there too is you need an address. So if you're living on the beach, it's kind of hard. They do have PO boxes if you want to buy a PO box, but if you want something shipped by Amazon, I use Vernon's address is how I use it. But yeah, no, it's a tough place. I would just recommend, just like I said, try the AKU camp, stay there for a week, and see if you like it. If you don't like it, it's not for you. You didn't waste, don't quit your job and go up there.
Right. I'm sorry, Brian.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying, don't quit your job and other than just go up and go to the camp, experience it, and you think it might be for you, but after you experience it, you might be like, thank God, I'm going back home.
Moto mining, how long is the season? I'll do it with my motorbike and a tent. Would have to barge your motorcycle there, or I don't know. Are there any like goat paths out to Nome from somewhere?
No, everything. So anyone that brings a lot of stuff up, your best bet is just to buy a shipping container. I think at least from Seattle or Portland or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's a barge. So you buy a shipping container, which is like $4 or $5 grand, and then you pack it full of whatever you want, and it ships up to Nome. But the shipping is, I think it's $1.75 or $2 a pound. So it doesn't matter if you buy a brand new truck. Say like my Dodge Ram is, I think it's 10,000 pounds. It's got a Cummins diesel. It's heavy. So whether that truck is absolutely brand new or 30 years old, if it weighs 10,000 pounds, you're paying $20,000 to ship it up to Nome.
Right.
And I believe the shipping container itself, I believe you have to pay the weight of the shipping container. So if the shipping container weighs 2,000 pounds, that's $4,000 just to ship an empty shipping container. And then whatever you pack it full. So if you have all your mining equipment or parts or, outboard engines or boats, or I've seen people put like a mini excavator in them. So I mean, if your shipping container costs, if it's 50,000 pounds, you're paying $100,000 to bring it up to Nome. I might be wrong on the prices. I'm pretty sure it's like $1.75 or $2 a pound or something like that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, just to ship a truck up there that weighs 10,000 pounds, you're looking at $20,000 just to have a truck.
That's pretty crazy. Terry Curry wants to know, Bryan, describe your first day and week there in Nome, Alaska.
It was crazy. So yeah, I mean, I watched the show. So I mean, I thought they were just, I thought it was just balls to the wall, dredge. So as soon as I got off the plane, I was expecting to go dredge, but we got off the plane and we didn't dredge till like a week and a half after I got off the plane. I forgot why. I don't know if something was broken or it was just bad weather or just Vernon wasn't feeling well. I forget, but I'm like, this is kind of weird because they portray it that we're just dredging all the time, So I guess that was a shock to me that, that happened. But I mean, I'm used to living out like in the middle of nowhere, new situations, or, I was at Chicken and, I don't know. I'm just used to the chaos that comes with it. So it didn't really bother me, So as soon as I got off, I was just shocked with the film. I really had no idea I was going to be filmed. That was really a shock. So they did the filming. That was the biggest shock. And then, I don't know, I got to the boat, threw my luggage down, I met Gary. And Gary was cool. We clicked right away. Just unpacked my thing, got my bunk. And I'm like, now what? He's like, well, let me show you around Nome. So we went around Nome and went to the bar, had a few drinks, and just showed me around town.
Gary, and then, that's the guy who dredged with you on Verns, right?
Yeah. Gary,
he was
Gary,
on our show with you and Vernon before, yeah.
Yeah, Gary Simpson.
Yeah.
He dredges in California. He's got a 8-inch dredge up in Cali.
Oh, well, nice. Sure it's Cali. Sure it ain't like Cali, Idaho, Cal, or something like that.
Cali, California and Idaho.
Right. Hey, Wes, how are you doing, Wes Thomas? Hippie explorer in the house. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, everyone still dredges in Cali. It's no big deal. I mean, there's so many people dredging in Cali. I was dredging in California last winter. It's no big deal. Everyone's doing it.
Oh, I'm sure you were doing it with our friend over at Amra, huh?
I seen more dredges in California last winter than I do where I'm from. I mean,
well,
everyone's doing it. It's it's illegal, but for now, everyone's leaving you alone up there. I don't know what happened, but
I'm running a reclamation dredge, right, Thomas Pennyweight?
I think everyone's just sick of just all the BS, and people are like, you know what, just screw it, I'm doing it, and they're doing it.
So if you go back up this season, is Vern going to let you borrow the Barbie car?
Oh, yeah, I was driving it. I left it at Sean's over the winter, and I was going to return it back to Vernon last winter, like November or whatever when we left. But I went to go get it, and there was like 15 feet of snow on top of it. And like a snow drift came. Like, oh, that's staying over at Sean's. And then the springtime I came, finally it melted off. Even when I was there, when I showed up in June, there's still ice. Don't go to Nome before June, that's for sure. There's still ice all over. There's still snow all over the beach. Like you can't even camp on the beach, and even in June, it's pretty nasty. But once the snow melted, the thing, first click of the key, boom, started right up. It's like the best car Vern has. The thing starts up like you wouldn't believe. Like it can stay out in the elements. There's no roof on it. It was under 15 feet of snow, and boom, starts right up. So, yeah, we drove that around this summer a little bit. It's got no license plate, no registration, no nothing. I'm just driving the thing around town. No one cares. Who cares?
MVP's got this question, and it does reflect to what I wanted to ask. Do you have bears where you live, or are you in the city slickers?
Where I am here? No, there's bears right here. I just set up a game camera in the last 2 days. I got no bears on it, but there's a lot of wildlife. I couldn't believe it. In the last 2 days, there's turkeys, there's all types of deer, and I never know because I've been on the property now this is my second week. I just got it, so on the 19th I got it. So I've been here just a couple weeks, and there's all types of wildlife here. But there's bear here, there's black bear. I just haven't seen any on the camera, but they're here. There's moose, there's deer, there's turkey. It's
I think you
pretty
want to
active.
know about Nome, Alaska. What about the wildlife out there?
Oh, Nome, yeah, there's grizzlies. That guy Alex actually shot a grizzly bear that was trying to get into his tent.
Ooh.
Yeah, and he had an AR-15 in his tent, and freaking a bear was clawing at it, and like he was trying to shoot him away. He wouldn't leave, so he just went boom, 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 and took the thing out.
Now, along with wildlife, are there any ohms in Nome?
Any what?
No.
Gnomes in Nome.
No.
You know, the little lawn ornaments.
Garden gnomes? Like a garden gnome?
Yeah.
No, there's nothing. There's nothing that grows in Nome. There's no gardens in there. There's no trees or shrubs or nothing grows in
But
Nome.
there's no gnomes in Nome.
No, I think you need a garden to have a gnome in it, don't you?
Do you?
No, no, nothing grows in Nome. Everything's dead. Everything's brown. There's some grass that grows there. Like
You could have a traveling gnome that wanders Nome.
yeah,
So about those the weed shops, so they're shipping it in then? They don't have like a grove in the back?
well, there's one store that's called Gnome Grown. They might grow it there. I'm not sure.
Maybe
I really don't
it's
know,
one of the big buildings at the Pomeranke complex, you know.
Nah,
They
No,
don't
those
have
guys
a
actually-
big glowing building out there.
no, those guys are pretty. I know they seem like they're partiers, but those guys are really hard workers, and they just work all the time. And I don't think they really do too much stuff like that. They got to get up early in the morning all the time. So those guys are pretty hardcore working. But Friday nights when it's time to party, they definitely have a drink or two.
Moto Mining says, "Damn, so Nome has no mascot. Start a new trend in Nome, Brian. Next time you go up there,
Yeah.
pack a gnome, and you could have
No,
it with you everywhere you go, and it could be your traveling companion."
Yeah. No, the thing they got known there is the muskox. They're everywhere. They're in the supermarket parking lot. They're all over the road. They're everywhere. And those things, if you get close to them, they get mad and they charge you. Actually, last season, where Vernon has his connexes, like in a place called Discovery, it's actually kind of near the AKU camp. And right there on that road that he has all of his, where they show like his storage containers and all that on the show, in the very first house there, there's a state cop, and he has like dog sleds.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary was coming out of there last summer. He saw the cop, like trying to shoo a muskox away, like because they were like coming at his dogs or whatever. And he waved to him, and he's like, "Whatever," and he drove off. And he found out that that muskox came and stabbed the cop and killed him. He died right there. Like Gary was the last person to see him. Had no idea he was in trouble or nothing. But the muskox was bothering his dog, so he's like trying to get the muskox away, and it charged him and stabbed him and killed him.
If I remember right, he shot one round, didn't he? Or
I'm not sure if he had his gun with him or not.
I think I heard about that. I think they said he fired one round.
I don't know the whole story. All I remember.
I
is
think
Gary
it was a
said,
warning shot the way I heard it. But
I'm not sure. He was just trying to shoo it away, and it charged him and stabbed him and killed him. They maim dogs all the time. They stab dogs and kill dogs all the time. But they're all over town. They're at like bus stops. I mean, you see on Gnome Post. If you go to Facebook on Gnome Post, you see people like majority of the posts are warning people where all the muskox are. They're like, they're at the bus stop. Make sure get your kids, and they're behind the grocery store. They're like, A lot of muskox problems.
So if you're like super lucky, you might see some muskox
Oh,
and
you'll see them
some
everywhere. They're
natives at the bus stop
everywhere.
doing the dirty deed or something.
Well, the muskox, they all come into town because the grizzlies will leave their young alone when they're in town because the bears won't come into town. So the muskox over the years learn when they hang around Nome in the town that their babies survive, you know? So they all come from all over and just like hang out in town. So I don't know, that's they're a nuisance now. They won't they all show up and won't leave. Because as soon as they leave, the grizzlies just come and slaughter them and kill them. So it's kind of I don't know. They need to thin them out. I'm not sure if you can hunt them there or not, but you probably can't hunt them in town. But they're a nuisance, that's for sure.
I'm sure they probably have a, if it's charging you, you can shoot it policy.
Yeah. Like I've seen them at Sean's place. They just like walking by the door, and his dog was out yelling and trying to chase him, and then they just start like with the horns trying to gnaw at him and take him down. And yeah, I don't know. They're just everywhere. And the weirdest thing is foxes. There's a lot of foxes up there, but for whatever reason, they're friendly. Like I was hand feeding a fox twice over at Sean's place. They come right in, and I got some bread, and I was feeding them. They're really friendly for whatever reason, like multiple ones. There's another one by the ocean where the film crew came in, and I told them there's a guy that does a lot of nature shots, so I called him like, dude, there's a fox right out here by the wall. He's like super friendly, and he came and he filmed them, did a whole bunch of B-roll with them. But he would come right up, he would take food from you. For whatever reason, foxes are really friendly up there.
So Joseph Smith says, for a half ounce a day beach mining makes me want to go to Nome in summer. We've touched on this a couple
but you won't
times.
get a half an ounce. So
Let's just say you could do a quarter ounce or whatever. What's probable?
So the times that I went up, I mean, I did videos. All the videos on my thing are 100% real. Nothing was planted. I didn't add no gold. 100% real. Whatever's on my videos is actually what I got. Usually it was like 3, 4, maybe 5 grams a couple of times a day.
And that's not going to pay for your cost of living for that day, probably.
Right. It all depends what you want. I mean, you'll need 3 or 4 gallons of fuel, and a gallon of gas up there is $7. So, you need your fuel, and then you need fuel if you're in an ATV to go down the beach. I went down 10 miles, so it probably cost me, a gallon to get there, a gallon to get back. So that's $14 right there. That's a half a gram just in fuel for the car to get there.
Then your $30 hamburger, and if you drink
and then
or smoke,
food, and then place to stay. I mean, on average, I would say you can get anywhere from 3 to 6 grams every single day on the beach if you just work hard. And just go outside your house right now and shovel for 6 or 7, 8 hours. And I mean, it's hard work, No one's going to go do that. So go think of Nome. That's what you're going to do. To get that 6 grams, you're going to shovel for 6 hours into a sluice box, It's there, Sometimes you do really well. You might get 6, 7, 8 grams in a day. And then there might be 2 or 3 days where you get 2 grams a day. And you're doing the same work. You're shoveling for 6 hours and get 2 grams of gold,
But that's also including the working the tides, right?
No, there's not actually. The tides up there are kind of shallow. I think it's only 1.3 feet on average. Unless a storm's coming, then it will fluctuate. But there's very shallow tides up at Nome.
Okay. Now, I want to ask, Brian. I know you had some gold bags available. Do you still have those available?
Actually, I didn't start doing it yet. It's on my bucket list. As soon as I get back home, like I said, I'm in Maine right now. I'm doing my thing up here, but I'll probably go back home around Halloween because I gotta do all my leaves and do all that. So as soon as I get back, I'll probably make like 100 bags, or I'll sell them maybe till Christmas or something.
Now,
I don't want to offload the gold. Like I really like my gold. I like holding on to it. I really don't sell gold. Like every single picker that I've ever found, every single nugget I've ever found, I still have. over the last 10 years. I've never sold any of my big gold or nuggets. Even when I went to chicken, I still have a lot of my chicken gold. The last times I've been to Nome, I don't know, I like keeping the gold, so I really don't sell too much, but I might make like 100 bags just so people can have some real Nome gold from the TV show if they're really interested, I'll probably do so what I normally do is I put $90 of spot price gold into the bag, and then the shipping and all the bags and stuff costs like $10 to ship it out with the bag and the shipping. So I charge $100 and you get a $90 worth of spot price gold is what I usually do.
Right. Well, I dropped
So-
a link to your Facebook page.
Yeah, I'll put it on Facebook once I get home. Like I said, I'll probably make 100 bags. It just takes so much damn time, and I still have maybe I'm not sure. I got still a big bucket of Nome beach sand that I shipped back. I took 4 large flat rate boxes and from the post office, and I filled them full of sand. And when I brought them to the post office, the lady was like, "Oh my God, what the heck?" I was like, "Hey, if it says it fits, it ships."
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, I filled 4 flat rate boxes, the large ones, full of Nome sand. So when I do the bags, that's real honest to God Nome beach sand. I didn't go through it. Nothing. I mean, there's not going to be any. There might be a few flakes, tiny, with a Nome beach sand in there, but it's all Nome beach sand for real. And like I said, I'll put $90 of spot price gold in it, and I'll sell them for $100 to cover the shipping, and I'll give you free shipping. But just I'm not trying to sell a lot of it. Just for people who really want some Nome gold from the TV show.
Seems like there would be some takers when you get it up. I just
Yeah.
dropped the link out there. I'll do it another time. And
Yeah.
you
I'll put a picker. This year we got a lot of pickers because we went deeper. So the gold where we went this year was a lot bigger. So I'll put a picker in every bag, like a little picker.
Well, I'm sure Brian would take an email from you, Bob.
Yeah, I was just responding to that. Yeah.
You
Here's
can
a-
always contact Brian through goldprospectorspace.com too.
Yeah. I'll put it on my Facebook page or probably GPS. I don't know. Where we'll get around. It's no big deal if I don't sell that many. Because actually, I really don't want to sell any gold. Like I said, I
So
like
here's
keeping-
a 2-part question. So Nome is a gold city, a town. Now, is there any places that accept gold, or do you just cash your gold in? And how many buyers are there?
Yeah, well, in
Good
Nome, actually, a
question.
lot of things are still in gold. Like, not the businesses, like that's all cash. But a lot of trades, like Nome is all about when you go to Nome, you want to keep your character. You want to be a good guy because it's such a small town. Like I said, it's like a town stuck in the 50s, right? If you do one little tiny thing, if you steal one little thing, the whole town knows you're a thief, right? So you get spit out really fast. So everything about Nome is like your reputation and everything. And trade is still done in Nome. So like, I've done it a lot. Like when Vern wasn't around, he wasn't there to pay the fuel bill, right? So I paid the fuel bill out of my credit card because the gas company takes credit cards. So I used my credit card and bought the fuel, which is like $1,200 for the boat for the week. So in return, I'm like, hey Vern, the fuel bill is $1,200. I'm going to take $1,200 at 80% out of the gold out of your take, because I handled all the gold on the boat. Like we would do the cleanups, and after the cleanup, I would hold on to the gold and I distribute the gold and give Vern his share and give the divers their share and everything. So I always held the gold. So I would tell Vern the bills and he would pay me in gold. And not only that, like when you do business with other miners, usually it's done in gold. To tell you the truth, like if you want a 4-wheeler from someone, they'll say give me 2 ounces of gold or stuff like that. So there's a lot of private sales still done in gold. But all the businesses up there, they're all done in cash. But in chicken, I know the guy who owns the camp, when he goes and turns in his gold, they actually at the fuel where he gets his fuel, they take gold. So he gives his fuel bill in gold and chicken. That's pretty much all I know that takes gold.
So, like, is there a lot of gold buyers there, or just a couple main ones, or?
There's just one guy. I think there's a couple places that have signs out, but I think they're closed. There might be one other one. Everyone just usually goes to a guy called Potter's, and pretty much no question, no nothing. So when you go to sell your gold, so say if you got 10 ounces, you just take your 10 ounces, you go to Potter's, you got to ring the bell, and he buzzes you in. You go in, and as soon as you go in, there's AK-47s, there's Glocks, there's there's AR-15s all over the place, all over the walls. In his drawer, like once you get to know him, he loosens up. He'll open his drawers like a 44 Magnum, and I'm sure under his desk, I'm sure he's got a shotgun pointed right at, because you got to go and sit in front of the desk. So I'm sure he has a shotgun under his desk, like the good old days, you know. But he's the main guy. So as soon as you go in, you put your 10 ounces, and he just asks a name. First name. You can make up any name you want. You could say, yeah, I'm Bubba. He's like, okay, he writes down Bubba, 10 ounces. He walks over to his safe and just throws you $100 bills right on the counter. He's like, okay, good. You good?
Is cash the only option, or is there like a direct deposit?
Only cash. Cash is it. He just $100 bills every single time. If you bring in 50 ounces, he goes to the safe. He'll pull out 200 grand or 100 grand, whatever it is. He'll take out 100 grand right on the counter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gives you 100 grand in cash, put it in your pocket, and you walk out and leave. And
have you ever done it? Have you ever done the cash out?
Like I said, I've never sold gold, but I've always been there. Like Gary, when I'm with Gary will sell his gold. So as soon as we came back from chicken, I think he had 7 ounces that he cashed in. So we came off the plane. We went straight to Potter's because he needed to sell it. So we got off the plane, went to Potter's. I think it was 7 ounces, and I remember Potter came and he put $10,000 right on the counter in cash, and because I had that ribbon, a $10,000 ribbon on it, and he went to take it off, and Gary's like, no, that's cool. I want to have that. Just keep that on there. And he took the $10,000 stack and put it in his pocket and walked out the door. And that was it. There's no forms. There's no. You don't even have to tell him your last name. You don't even. I mean, he knows who you are through town because it's a small town. But you can just say Jimmy, Bobby, whatever you want. So he just writes out, okay, Bobby, 10,000. There you go. See it. All cash.
I wonder if anybody has doubts when they do that. We all kind of believe that gold is going to gain in value over cash, and it has over time. I just wonder, if you got that gut feeling going, oh, well, I'm cashing in my gold for cash. Yeah.
Right.
No, it's just good. It's cool that you can just get gold out of the ground and then go and cash it in and get a big lump of cash if you need it.
Right. It's nice safety net, right, Bryan?
Yeah. And it's anonymous, so I mean, there's no taxes. I'm sure you're supposed to. At the end of the year, you're probably supposed to say, "Yeah, I cashed in $10,000 of gold," which I'm sure everyone does.
What's up, Benzo?
Benzo, bro. Coming right in time for the ending almost. We've zipped past 2 hours, guys. And
it's been 2 hours already?
Yeah. Time flies, right, Rob? Bryan, thanks for coming back again and joining us on Tuesday Night Hangout Live. And you've been stopped by here before. If you ever need a place to rest your eyes or take a break from the road and you're passing through my part of the state, you're always welcome. And don't worry about the asshole. Beep! The neighbor that told you couldn't park there. I'd tell him.
Yeah, that's funny.
Thank you to my 2 guest co-hosts tonight. Why gold, metal detecting, and adventures? I've been corrected. And our friend, world's greatest moderator, the super moderator here on my channel, Mr. Lodak. And again, Bryan, and all of you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Next week, we have Timothy and Catherine Leech of Team Leech Beach Metal Detecting joining us here on Tuesday night Hangout Live. Should be a really good show. If you ever need to or feel like have the need to listen to the show on the go, you could catch us over at Spotify and iHeartRadio and more. Don't forget to check out goldprospectorspace.com and listen in on Sundays, right, guys? Sundays at 7:30.
Sundays, 7:30 Eastern.
Here on YouTube, over at Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and over at goldprospectorspace.com. It's a great forum. I know all of these guys from there. Bob Drake, Down East Detecting and Prospecting. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. I greatly appreciate it. All of you, thank you for being part of the FlashFam. Thank you for being here tonight. And shoot, the show wouldn't be a show without all of you out there, right, guys?
That's correct.
Again, thanks everybody. Until next time, may you always have a flash in your pen.
And you know what he's going to say next.
That's right, Mr. Lodak, because it does happen. Maybe one day, too, we'll meet you on the river. Good night, everybody. God bless. Love you all.
Thanks for having me. See you guys later.
See ya! MVP! Thanks for the $10 super sticker, bro. Bobby,
5, 4,
Bobby,
3,
Joe,
2,
let's go
1.
dredging before the snow.